What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today when I talk to you about SoFi, I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the broader market, what SoFi's data points are currently saying, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So SoFi did close 1.08% in the green on Friday, largely piggybacking off of the S&P's record high hitting on Friday. So that should really carry over into next week, because data point wise, it's kind of quiet for the most part up until Thursday. So Thursday, GDP, so January the 25th, GDP quarter by quarter, it is estimated to be around 2%. So we already do know if those numbers do miss and show signs of slowing, you are going to see a very substantial pullback. Similar to what happened last week when China came out with their GDP numbers and it showed some signs of slowing. So once again, a lot of people are going to be watching those numbers very, very closely. Similarly, on Friday, PCE. So the Feds like to use PCE as a true indicator of inflation rather than CPI. So mainstream media and whatnot, they like to use CPI, but still two very big indicators on Thursday and Friday. Beginning part of the week, so Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is going to be more so technical driven as well as dependent on these companies' earnings. So this upcoming week, there's a lot of heavy hitters that could disrupt the broader market and in turn, SoFi or potentially propel it higher. Some ones that stand out to me at least are Netflix, Tesla, American Express, and Visa. So American Express and Visa, that potentially could really affect SoFi somewhat, because the bear case on SoFi is that they have overextended themselves. So if American Express and Visa are more, I guess, bearish on the broader market and I guess the foreseeable future as far as guidance, that will really translate and affect SoFi. My own opinion, of course, not a financial advisor. Going into this upcoming week, or I guess as of late, there has been no SEC filings, no press releases from SoFi itself. Just shorts have been really all over SoFi over the last little bit. So potentially if some negative data does come out on Thursday and Friday, like I said, then you are going to see shorts increase quite significantly. Friday, they did increase about 1.86 million shares. 13.88% of the free float is being shorted. 124.23 million shares overall are being shorted. And as you can kind of see, cost to borrow average is 0.82%. And I found it very interesting. So just kind of moving over to options for a second, there was some optimism. So $7.69 million in calls being purchased versus 3.5 in puts. And 49% of all the options being done on Friday were optimistic and bullish. But I just want to draw your attention to this. So this is all the open interest for the call options. And I did my SoFi video on Friday. I think it was midway during the day before they actually did spike. So I did it roughly, I think it was like right here, give or take. And during that video, oddly enough, I did point out this, that market makers would not want it to be over $7.50. And where did we close? We closed at exactly $7.49. Because if it closed at $7.50, there was around 36,000 in open interest at that $7.50 strike price, meaning market makers would have to cover that. And ultimately that would result in a nice bump up in the stock price on Monday. So market makers, there's a lot of manipulation happening behind the scenes, and the fact that they had it close at $7.49 shows that they do want it to go up higher, just within a controlled measure. So they didn't want it above $7.50. So that's kind of just, it's messed up, and it's very interesting to note. You can always go back to my video and listen to it because I said that exact same thing. So the fact, like I said, it closed at $7.49 is very messed up, and it did go up after hours slightly, but still when it comes to options, it's as of business day, so it does not get affected by after hours activity. So once again, just kind of be aware of that. So moving on though, looking at puts though, it is anticipated for it to be sub roughly, there's not really much standing out for that. The volume based on Friday does show it's going to be below $7, which is kind of extreme if you ask me. But that most likely is just piggybacking off of the Elliott wave technicals. So as I've stated in the past, it is projecting for it to go as low as 530 to 582 in the short term, for as long as it is below 828, which is a very strong pivot point for it. In my opinion, it's kind of counter to what has happened in the past, because SoFi's earnings are 5 business days away. So that's kind of a good thing. Normally in the past, there's been a FOMO rally leading up to their earnings, and then regardless of the earning results, it always tanks time and time again. So that hasn't really occurred this time because, as you can kind of see on the stock price, I'm sure you guys are already well aware, this is definitely not a FOMO rally. So if anything, it's just maybe inverse. So maybe with their results, it'll actually, for the first time, go up to where it should be. So in my opinion, maybe the high 9s, 10, or whatever else. But the latest Morningstar report right here does show the fair market value still being around 1450 based on SoFi's assets. So it could be double digits once again, maybe sooner rather than later. We just have to wait and see ultimately. Going into this upcoming week though, some points to really watch for support and resistance is going to be around that 729. And technicals, so even though the Elliott wave is pointing to for it to go down, it did bounce off of this S3 twice, both Thursday and Friday. So generally, that's a good thing going into next week. So the market will want to bring up SoFi higher. It just will have to get above this 760. So that is going to be a very key point to watch for on Monday, for it to get above this S2. And then if it does, 779, 810, and then hopefully at that stage, that's where FOMO will kick in. Then you'll easily see 9. But I think right now it's just baby steps, so you do have to see this S2 to be broken. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. I feel like this upcoming week, especially with their earnings coming right around the corner, I am going to be a buyer and potentially I'll be selling some puts. So if you guys don't know options and how to do that, highly suggest in researching them, because if you do sell puts at a certain strike price, if it goes below that, you get to buy it. So for instance, at 749 right now, if I sell some $7 puts on SoFi, I'm saying that I feel it is going to be above 7. So if that happens, I collect the premium. Win-win for me, right? And if it goes down, guess what? I get to buy it at $7. So this is why I like to sell puts on stocks that I do really like, because A, you either get to collect premiums, or B, you get to buy stocks at, or good stocks that you like at the price that you ideally like. Because I guarantee if I ask a lot of you right now, hey, if you can buy SoFi for $7, would you? And I'm sure a lot of people would say, hey, yep, I would easily, especially with it at 750 right now. So again, do your own due diligence. There's a fine line with options though, between gambling and actually investing. So tread lightly. My own opinion, of course, on that. And going over here, number of retail investors have been getting out, with exception on Friday. So kind of stabilized. That does once again show that maybe SoFi is ready to go up higher. Stochastic is at 5. So if there is a good piece of news specific to SoFi or the broader market, you are going to see a rush of value investors getting in. So no matter what, I think this upcoming week will be very interesting. Even though the technicals are pointing to it going down, a lot of the other data points are a lot more optimistic. So once again, we just have to sit tight and wait. SoFi is a long-term investment, just practice patience, which is a very difficult thing for a lot of investors and myself to do, as funny as that is. So hopefully everyone has had an amazing weekend thus far. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. And with all that said, appreciate all of you watching.